I'm Cheryl Clarke.
I'm Gregory Clarke, and welcome to the Couple Motivators podcast.
I feel like we need to be
We're gonna act like we beat streeting, graffiti on the subway. We're going back there, burning tenements in the Bronx.
We could do the WAP.
Oh,
Hey.
Now I would have to get up to do the Bismarck.
No. See, this is. I told
The
you I
Bismarck.
can dance.
I can dance. I can't do it in the seat.
Nah.
Yeah, everyone knows about the Bismarck dance.
First of all, you could.
God
get
bless
your
the dead Bismarcky.
But you could get the groove. You could get your groove on just like this, being that.
But you looking like you having a Tourette's moment.
Oh.
But that wouldn't be good.
That's so rude right now.
So let's help you out.
All comments.
All comments can come
to
to
Gregory.
me.
There
They
you
can come
go.
to me, but at the same time,
Yeah.
they're gonna be good comments. We're gonna be as good as we can be.
No, don't do that. All right. So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about what are we going to be talking about, Clark?
I know, you tell me, because I'm having a fun time. I'm still stuck on the Bismarck.
What are you talking about?
The Bismarck.
Okay, Clark, you know what? I can't with you. Well, like I said, what we're going to be talking about today, tell the people.
Well, we're going to be dealing with, communication. We're going to still be on those lines of recognizing how we can be effective. And then we're going to get into the conversation when we're dealing with, certain budgetary aspects, because we talked about that a couple of podcasts prior, and now it's time to really evolve and take it to the next level when it comes to recognizing the structures that you're going to need. So this is going to be a power-packed podcast.
Yeah, so the main thing we want you to know in this podcast is you have to have a vision. Creating a vision is necessary. So when you begin to start creating a vision, I want you to know the main thing that we did and what we had to do is that you have to agree on that vision.
That is so true.
And the vision should have and should include, one, you should have a me vision. Mm-hmm. It should include a we vision, a us vision, which is your children, and a community they vision.
So so it starts with me, we, us, and they.
Yes, because me, that is your purpose in life, what you were born to do. The us vision, the we vision, is what the couple is going to do. Mm-hmm. And the us vision is the children. What are you speaking with the children to begin to have them to go down in history, your legacy? And the they vision is the extended family, your community, extended community, because we know that we are here on the planet to serve with a purpose. We all have a divine assignment. That's number one. So you have to look at all the domains, and we talk about the 7 domains of our lives and how we begin. First, we start with ourselves. You got to look at your what are you doing for rec, leisure, and fun? What are you doing for your health? What are you doing for? These are all domains. Your physical environment. What are you doing in your life that you're going to be building with one another? What are those aspects of how you're moving in the area of life?
I want to ask you this question. How does one get a vision for their life?
Well, the point of the matter, how do we get a vision for our life?
No, but I'm asking you, in reference to everything that you're sharing, great points, and the 7 domains are there. But I'm talking about for a person out there who's probably watching us or listening to us right now and saying, you know what? I hear Greg and Cheryl talk about how they generated their vision. Suppose someone hasn't created a vision for themselves. What's the possibility there?
Well, that's just, you have to recognize where you are. So in life, you have a vision. You have a vision.
So
everybody has a
everyone
vision.
has a
Everybody
vision.
has a vision. Some people have a vision that they're going to get up and they're gonna sit on that couch all day long and watch TV.
Oh God.
That's a vision.
So that's a couch potato.
They're gonna be. That's
So
their vision.
So their vision of being a couch
That
potato,
is their
it is
vision.
what it is.
That's their vision.
And then you have some people who'll get up and be forerunners and going out there and traveling here to the door, wherever the place may be.
See, this is the thing, Clark. What we learned is that the temperature of who you control the thermostat.
I like that.
So just like we were talking about the AC and the boiler. You in the East Coast, we have a boiler because it gets cold. So you wouldn't run your AC, your air conditioner.
Oh no.
In the
especially if you have central air.
In the wintertime.
In the wintertime. Oh no.
However,
close those vents up.
However, if you were in parts of Africa, if you were in parts of the South, let's say in America, in the South, in November, you may run your AC during that time.
I just came a couple of weeks ago. I was in Phoenix.
Exactly.
Phoenix, Arizona, where it was 122 during the day and 105 at night.
Yeah,
even the animals had enough sense. They didn't come out until the nighttime. You couldn't find an animal during the daytime, and it's so true. And the way that they have to pull on the energy, and especially on the vision of them living in that Southwest region, is so powerful.
Yes, because when you look at it, if you are in a cold climate, you have to have a vision. So without vision, you cannot begin to be successful. So we teach couples and we help couples and guide couples through the vision that they're going to have for themselves and the vision they're going to have for a week.
So we're going to help them set up their vision boards.
Exactly. So there's a couple of things. So Clark is into it already. So there's a vision. Okay, so let me talk to all those who do not like to write. You need to write out the vision, whether it's a notebook, and then you need to post it.
Can they go new school with it and they can use their phone?
I mean,
because these days people got stylists. They got them phones that have a stylist, and they sit there.
But if
you
they
know,
have
all those
to,
apostolic people, just apostolic.
Yeah, regardless of the fact, whatever device you're using, I always say you have to be able to view it. So you have to be committed to viewing your vision, going over. If you come into our house, we have in our office gigantic
post-its all
over the place because we want the vision to be plain and we want the vision to be seen.
And not even that, you have to keep the vision in front of you.
Yes.
If the vision is not there and it's just an ethereal thought that you have and an idea, but you don't have any place where it's documented, how can you know you're being successful? And we've talked about it in previous conversations when you're looking at your goal setting, when you're talking about vision casting.
Yeah.
There's certain times and certain things on your vision board, not to say that you're not going to accomplish it, but say if you're looking for that mega yacht and you end up with like a 20-footer. Now, it may not look like the yacht or what you had proposed on your vision board, but you still actualize it because you ended up with that boat. Or that person can say, oh, I need a 40-bedroom home, and they end up with like a 8-bedroom mansion. You're like, wait a minute, but on your vision board was 40 bedrooms. But I think 8 suffices. I have to be responsible for that. And
because you have to grow with the vision. And then you have to be realistic with your vision. So
say that again. We got to help those people. What was that last statement?
Realistic. Now,
realistic.
Now let me just say this.
No limiting, but be realistic.
So let me be clear. I am a believer of miracles. I am a believer of things that can happen.
Well, miracles based upon your actions.
Exactly.
Not just waiting for a miracle.
But that's just like, it may happen for you. However, works without action is dead.
No, faith without.
I call that action. Faith is in action. If you don't have any action, if you're not activating your faith, if you're not saying that you're activate your faith.
You have to activate
You have to activate it because
the same way you said that everyone has a vision, not to cut you off, the same way you said that everyone has a vision regardless of even if they're being in action, they're still in action. And I share that with certain. I was having a conversation with someone, and people the person actually says, I heard you tell that person who's doing nothing that they're still doing something. I said, yeah. Even doing nothing means you're doing something because you're
Exactly.
making a choice.
Making a
Now,
choice.
going back to faith, we all have some level of faith, even if you're an atheist, even if you believe a different religion, you have some level of faith because you believe. Even an atheist has some level of belief because even in their non-belief, they're showing their belief.
Yeah.
But when you start to recognize that, you understand that there's a power in generating the space when it comes to that vision. What do you
Yeah.
say to that?
Because one thing I want to talk about that is that your vision, connecting it to your money, connecting it to prosperity, and connecting it to that. And I know a couple of podcasts back we talked about the budget and money and all that stuff. But on the part two of that, I want to talk about, because we're talking about faith, the budgeting of your time. The budgeting, because time is money.
Well, time is a resource. And when you
Yes.
start to recognize that the
We
way
all have
that
the same time.
you all have the same 24 hours every day, but there's certain people who can make $17 an hour, which is not, we're not discrediting that. And there's people who make $17,000 an hour. There's certain people who make $17 million an hour. And you're sitting there like,
How did that happen?
how did that happen? It happened based upon how they casted themselves and the structures that they used, not only their vision casting, but at the same time how they propelled themselves. Did they recognize how to use OPM? Did they recognize how to
Were you saying something maybe they may not know?
OPM, other people's money, other people's it's not OPP. I know we were talking earlier about the 90s and doing all those dances. It's not OPP, it's OPM. And that's another aspect, that's another structure, a budgetary structure, that if you're utilizing the access that you have to certain finances or resources, if you apply those areas correctly, they're going to enhance your budget, because now you're going to recognize you have more resources at hand. You take care or service what it is that you have received via OPM, and next you know, you keep expanding and building, expanding and building. Or I would say another term, ROI. And people say, what is ROI? And you'll hear most business corporations talk about that. That's return on investment. And even as we may not be in a space of saying that we have a public company, we talk all the time in regards to when it comes to return on investment. We are always having conversations based upon what it is that we're doing from a budgetary standpoint, and then how is it translating back, and did it make a profit? Is it something that is redoable? And then that we say, okay, yeah, we need to do that. Let's rinse and repeat. Let's do that again. Because now it's, and the more and more you do it, the more and more that you can become effective in building that structure, even though there's a budget there. So when you allow yourself to mix your vision with your budget, and when we say budget, we're not talking about limiting yourself, but when you mix your vision and you keep building out your budget is going to help you build your vision.
Yeah, but the vision also, along with when we're talking about the budget, is that when you look at the time frame of how you're beginning to move yourself in that, you're moving it together. So we believe that your vision aligned with God's vision, and your vision aligned with what God has given both of you. Because God gives me something, God gives you something. How do we actualize that now? And then because all these posters and stuff on the wall that we have is something that came out of our creativity, came out of God. And budgeting to me means the second part of it is that what am I going to do if I do have the resources? What am I going to do with my time in growing it? What am I going to do? Because we are responsible for that resource of time. We are responsible for the resource of the people. We are responsible for the resource of the idea. There's so many. That's when they said the graveyards are full of unrealized ideas.
So what I'm gathering from what you're saying as we're, delving into the second part of budgeting is that if you don't have any time management skills, that means the vision or the budgets that you wish to expand upon cannot be realized.
It's
because
true.
now you're just hoping beyond hope in regards to, okay, we hope that happens.
Yep.
Or not that I was correcting you earlier, or we're just waiting for the miracle to happen for that thing to manifest. That's not necessarily the truth in that. what it is that the miracle happens when you're ready to put yourself in the space of being in action. So that's why when it says faith with action, now you're moving somewhere. But faith without works
Yeah.
becomes a dead thing. And so we don't want we don't wish for you to be in any spaces that are dead, dying, no vision. Everyone's walking around with, blinders on and you can't see. Because even when they say, in the field of the blind, or in the city of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And so when you understand that whoever's casting the vision, either you're catching someone else's vision or you're casting your own.
That's good because when you begin to see, and I always think of the late great Ray Charles and his story. He saw more than most of us because he had to use other senses to begin to
That's
see.
true.
And he
Became
saw
much more heightened.
Yeah, he saw something in gospel music, and then he saw something in rhythm and blues, and then he married the two. That was something that went against the grain in that time of year, that time, and that is where I when we talk about you moving in a position or you moving with something that goes against the grain. So when you look at what's out there new in the earth, and it may look strange. So we're looking at right now when we're talking electric cars. Now, I don't think that my grandfather or grandmother would ever thought a car would be running without gas. When you look at the simple fact of my grandfather never picked up a computer. Only thing he knew was the remote control that changed the television.
But it's so interesting as you bring that up. Everything that you're saying was stimulated by visionaries. That means these are individuals who are willing. Like, I consider Greg and Cheryl visionaries. We're here to bring a new context and a new probability to a position or to a community that may not necessarily have that context or that conversation. And so when you recognize that when you have a visionary that's in the midst of you, that visionary is going to bring you to a space where they see something that you may not necessarily see. But the reason why the vision was given to them, because they're ready to help lead the people or bring the people forward. So as we talk about technology and we talk about all the things, and even our parents or forefathers may not have experienced certain things, there may be certain things coming down the line that our grandkids would say, I remember those days when they had to, pick up a remote to turn on or turn off a TV. Now, I just do it from my phone. Well, technically some phones can do it now. But, some sort of innovation from a visionary that's going to expand and continue the process and say, I never thought that can be done.
I'm in my PhD program, and there was a part I was reading today actually, is that corporations and organizations that create a learning environment for their employees to grow and collaborate, go further in innovation. So that word that you just said, it's because now that the CEO was not beholding to their own personal view, and that's when I think about Steve Jobs, when he moved away from that and he began to get the ideas of other people. He was spearheading it, but he could not grow it the way that Apple could grow if he did not share what was in his head and then get other people around him to begin to move that big corporation that's moving now.
Well, Apple as a company is based upon the fact of Steve Jobs coming back, and then he became the creative director. He recognized all these ideas, all these thoughts that were stimulating, and then what he did was he brought it to his different departments within that corporation to say, okay, what would happen if we create this little thing that can be in my hand that has a wheel, and if I can press play in the middle, and all of a sudden music would play. And people was like, wait a minute, you got to get a CD. You need it. We still had CDs. We still, even people were still cassette tapes. And before you know, all of a sudden we heard a new word pop up, MP3, and people were like, MP3, what is an MP3? It says, no, it's an audio file. It's like, and if you have your MP3 player, Now all of a sudden you're not looking for a CD, and that was the necessary stages or
Evolution.
of evolution. And so, if you got anything out of this particular podcast, we want you to know that the vision that you cast for yourself, and especially as in a relationship, it can be a great one, but you must recognize it to be great. And also, as you're casting that vision, make sure that your budget is working in concert with that vision. So as you work that budget, that's going to help expand that vision. And by doing so, you're going to be magnificent together. And that's what we wish for you above all things. And
Yeah.
I know we got some questions that came in, and
Yeah.
my wife is always getting those questions, boy. So keep those questions coming in
Yes.
because we love to answer them.
The first question that we have from one of our viewers, they ask, what is the first step of actually coming together and agreeing on a vision?
Well, it starts in communication, listening, and also, I may say something that I'm gonna be a little controversial here. That physical touch and intimacy is also a part of it. See, one of the things that we sometimes must recognize in a relationship, certain things, if you want to really bring it to the fruition that when two are together, that they are in full agreement, it moves from being just an idea and just conversating and just being in a listening mode into saying that, we're actually allowing ourselves to be at one around it. And one of the ways that you be at one around it, regardless of your dispensation, is that, you have some level of intimacy, because there are certain conversations that you can have in the bedroom. It's not about business. When you're casting your vision, this is not about saying, oh, we're talking about this and talking about that, or talking about the job, or talking about the babysitter. No, no, no. You're casting a vision. And those intimate moments when you have the opportunity to be with your partner and you have to say, I'm thinking about this, or, what would happen if we do this? Or what happen if we add this element? What happen if we talk about this? And people say, oh, that's happening in the bedroom. Yes, that should be happening in the bedroom. The bedroom is not just for you to close your eyes in or just to have sex in. You should be able to be relatable to each other based upon how you're developing and building the vision that maybe one person's seen and another person's helped to undergird. And at the same time, the necessary pieces of the puzzle start to come into play and makes it much more workable as you relate about that conversation. What would you think to that?
Yeah, you said a couple of things there that were brilliant, because intimacy is when, and not just in the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom, you're building intimacy because you get to know the essence of the other person. So what is my mate about? What is my mate thinking about? What am I tapping into? And am I willing to be with them? I'm going to tell you this one story. I remember when Gregory was moving in ministry, and we had moved away from the church, and he came to me and said, I think I want to become a pastor. And I wasn't aligned with that. We had just stopped going to the church, and we were in church for a good long time, and I needed healing from church. And you didn't know that part, but I needed healing because I went through a church hurt, and a lot of people went through church hurt. Even you went through church hurt. And I said, I don't really think I can be someone's first lady right now. And you were very hurt by that. And we had to really, really make sure that we go in that portion of understanding how we can begin to move together. And now I'm looking at our lives, and we just this year are launching Inner Discovery as a non-for-profit organization that we're going to be ministering. We are ministering to relationships and families, that we can begin to grow them. So we're in that together. And that came through an intimate conversation. And when you are moving, don't be afraid not to say something, but be able to say it in a respectful mode, be able to say it in a loving mode, so you can begin to grow with one another. So for that, I'm your partner in this thing, and as we grow together, we're going to thrive together, and communities will thrive because we're sharing from an authentic space.
Look at that. Look at that vision casting just working in all them structures. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, We're coming towards the end of another great podcast session, another great conversation.
Yeah.
As always, do your due diligence if you wish to be a part of the Couple Motivators. Just follow us and continue to be a part of the movement because we're here to develop relationships as a whole. And we are generating and growing the community today. What would you like to say to people as we're about to leave?
Well, when couples unite, greatness is bound to happen.
Look at that.
See you next time.
Hey everyone, this is Gregory Clarke Sr.
And I'm Cheryl Clarke.
And we're here today to tell you about this dynamic book that we wrote together, which is called The Power of the 4 A's.
Yeah, the 4 A's really helped us in our marriage. And one of the first 4 A's is acceptance, an appreciation, affection, and agreement. This book will help you repair your relationship. It can either help you to thrive in your relationship, or if you want to be in a thriving relationship, this is the book.
Well, when you think about this book has actually helped save our marriage,
Yeah.
which has influenced in how we was able to not only save the relationship, but also impact our lives and impact the lives of others.
Yeah.
So I wish for you today to take advantage of the opportunity to go to GregandCherylClarke.com to get your copy of The Power of the 4 A's. Why? Because you need this book in your library. You need this book as a tome that's going to help you in the apparatus of your own relationship. So once again, we invite you to go to www.GregandCherylClarke.com today to get your copy of The Power of the 4 A's. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Couple Motivators podcast.
And remember, keep coming weekly because there's going to be new episodes down the pike.
Remember to add us on your playlist on your favorite streaming platform.
And remember, like we always say here at Couple Motivators, when couples unite, greatness is bound to happen.